It started out like any other evening, just me and Emily, my little sister, heading to McDonald's after school. It was one of those harmless rituals we did whenever we had a chance. Emily loved the place, especially the indoor playground, and I didn't mind. It gave me a break, a chance to sip on a Coke, and scroll through my phone while she burned off energy. The place was almost empty when we walked in. A few families scattered around, the occasional soft beep of the fryers behind the counter, and the fluorescent lights that always felt a bit too harsh. It should have felt normal, safe even, but the moment we sat down, something felt off. I can't explain it, call it gut instinct, but the second we walked in, I had this eerie sense that we weren't alone, not in the usual way. Someone was watching us.
Stop it, Sarah.
I scolded myself. Emily was happy. I should have been too. How could I when I spotted him? A man, sitting alone near the front, huddled in a dirty gray hoodie, his hair sticking out in greasy strands. His eyes, though, those were what chilled me. They were fixed, almost unblinking, on Emily as she played with the interactive display near the counter. She was completely unaware, tapping the screen with her usual bubbly enthusiasm. But his gaze, it was cold and hungry. I tried to shake it off as I ordered. I mean, it's a public place, right? I told myself he was probably just some random guy, maybe a little rough around the edges. No big deal. But the way he was watching her, it unnerved me. By the time I sat down with our food, he was still there, unmoved, his focus unwavering. I glanced at Emily, then back to him. His eyes shifted the moment I caught him. For a split second, our gazes locked, and something about the way he looked away, like I wasn't supposed to notice him, sent a wave of nausea through me. I should have grabbed Emily then. I should have left, but I didn't. Instead, I watched her run off to the playground area, giggling as she disappeared into the maze of plastic tubes and slides. I tried to relax, telling myself I was being paranoid. I mean, what could happen? There were other people around, workers, families. But when I glanced back at the front of the restaurant, the man was standing. He wasn't leaving, though. No, he was standing near the door, watching Emily again, his eyes darting toward me occasionally, but always returning to her. My heart kicked up in my chest. Go talk to the manager, I thought. Tell someone. But just as I was about to stand up, he turned and stepped outside, disappearing into the parking lot. Relief washed over me. He was gone. Or so I thought. We ate quickly, my nerves still on edge, and I let Emily play a little longer, thinking the worst was over. I got up to throw our trash away, and when I glanced toward the playground, my heart froze. Emily was gone. Somehow, in the span of mere seconds, he had slipped back into the restaurant. I hadn't even seen him come in, but now he wasn't just watching, he was moving, fast. He was walking out with Emily in his arms, struggling. My body moved before my brain could catch up. I screamed her name, the sound ripping from my throat, raw and desperate.
Emily!
I ran. Everything around me blurred. Tables, chairs, people. None of it mattered. The only thing I could focus on was that filthy hand gripping her, pulling her toward the exit. Her small body twisted, trying to break free, but he was strong, too strong. She screamed, and the sound of it, that high-pitched, terrified scream, shattered something inside me. I lunged at him, clawing at his arm, his hoodie, anything I could reach. He grunted, his face twisted in frustration, and for a moment it felt like he might win, like he might rip her away from me and disappear into the night. "You bitch!" he hissed. But then, a worker, a teenage boy no older than me, came running. He grabbed the man's other arm, and suddenly, the stranger's grip loosened. He shoved Emily to the floor, and before I could react, he was gone, bolting through the door, vanishing into the dark. I held Emily, shaking. Both of us cried while people crowded around us. Voices blended into a murmur of concern and disbelief, but I didn't care about them. All I cared about was Emily, her small body trembling in my arms, her face pale and tear-streaked. The police came, of course. They asked questions, took statements, but it didn't matter. The man was gone, vanished like smoke. And no matter how much they reassured me, I knew deep down they wouldn't find him. And for weeks, life went on, but I couldn't shake the feeling. Every time I passed a McDonald's, every time I heard the squeak of a playground slide or the shuffle of feet in the crowd, my heart would race, my breath would catch, and I'd find myself scanning the faces around me, waiting to see him again. And then one day, I did. I was with Emily, walking through the mall, when I felt it. The same cold, prickling sensation at the back of my neck. I turned, and there he was, standing near the entrance, his hoodie pulled tight over his face, watching us. I froze, terror clawing at my throat. He smiled, a slow, crooked smile, and disappeared into the crowd. And I knew he was waiting for another chance, waiting for us.